What's happening, YouTube? Welcome to the Mr. Winslow channel. I am Mr. Winslow, your host, and today we're going to be discussing a topic of prime importance which deals not only with the faith community but also the non-faith community. This particular video is going to be called Explaining Our Side. Now, I am not attempting to speak for every atheist on the planet. However, I am speaking for myself, and hopefully what is covered in this particular video blog is going to resound with atheists across the country, and hopefully it is going to help bridge the gap and making a more unified understanding occur between the faith community and the non-faith community. So without any further ado, let's get started, shall we? The number one problem that I have with a lot of faith believers is the fact that they are attempting to justify their faith on things that cannot be demonstrated or proven. Classic example. A faith believer can approach me and say, Mr. Winslow, I had a near-death experience, and in that near-death experience, God came down from heaven and gave me another chance, and that's why I'm here today, and that's why I am telling more people to choose Jesus. Now, I do realize that near-death experiences happen every day, and yes, people are entitled to feel what they feel regarding such experiences. However, the problem comes into play when this person tries to explain such a situation to me, and then they will try to go so far as to say, well, you need to believe in this because when the chips are down, Jesus is going to be the one that will save you. Well, my reply to them is going to be, did Jesus save all of those children that are dying overseas? Did Jesus save the day to those children that were sodomized by those priests? Did Jesus save the day to stop a child from picking up a weapon and trying to kill someone who did not come from their own land? Well, they tend to get hung up on a lot of those questions, and yes, I do have a lot more in my repertoire, but nonetheless, those are just three of the very basic ones that many faith believers have a problem answering. They will typically answer me with, well, those people aren't real Muslims or real Jews or real Shintoists or real Taoists or real Christians for that matter. I will resound, well, what does a real one look like? I mean, surely the Pope would be a fine representation of Christianity. Surely those people who were responsible for the 9/11 attacks would be a sterling example of a person practicing the Islamic faith. And yes, those Jews that were involved in the slave trade long ago would be a beautiful example of Judaism. Well, they tend to get stuck up on that one too. Most of them will say, let the past be the past, Mr. Winslow. But how can we let the past be the past when the past is connected to the present and will also open the door to the future? Religion needs to be stopped in its tracks. It needs to be discarded. How is it that the God who you profess to be omnibenevolent, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent turn his back on the people that are suffering the most or even in the least in this world? How is it that you can call this God just when he allows suffering on a grand scale to occur to some, but then the very, very few are the ones that he favors and the ones that he calls his children and are the ones that he professes to be elite and special unto him? No, this does not sound good at all. This is something that needs to stop as soon as possible. There is no way in the world that a person can read the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran with an objective mind and then say, this is the complete and absolute truth. No, not going to happen. In fact, if you really, really want to get down to business, if a person is hurt, let's say they're in a car crash, or let's say they're bleeding to death, or let's say they ingested poison on accident, you are not going to call the church. You are going to call a hospital. This is going to show just what side of the fence the faith believer is on. It's going to show that all of us need to come together and use more common sense. Use our minds to solve the problems that beset this world. Religion, religious faith is not going to do it, but a critically thinking mind will. History has shown us just how destructive religion is, and this is proof positive as to why religion needs to be eradicated. It needs to be discarded. For when religion is discarded and a mind is engaged in critical thought, once again, the truly miraculous will occur. From the Mr. Winslow Studios, peace.